loves, it's your girl ALLI MAE, and today I'm gonna be showing y'all a little bit of my, well, not even a little bit, I'm gonna give you the whole scoop on what I have on my TBR list this year. I know it's almost February, but it's been just really hard to be able to actually sit down and go in depth with you guys. I recorded a short and posted it, but some of the books that made it on there, I actually took off and added other ones, so it's a little different this time around, but it's basically got all of the same things. So yeah, first things first, I said in my resolutions video, my New Year's resolutions video, I want to read at least 8 books, but I have, I think 14. Yeah, I have 14 on this list. So the plan is I'm going to write the names of these books. I'm going to write the titles on little slips of paper, and I have a little glass, cute little jar. I don't have it accessible at the moment, but I'm going to put them on pieces of paper, crumple them up, and put them in there. And then when I am done reading one, I will pick another one at random. Just so, for one, that takes the burden of trying to choose the next book from me, and also just, it just keeps things fun and interesting for me. However, it is not going to be that big of a deal to me if I don't read every book on this list this year, just because I am trying to be a little more lenient with myself this year. And I'm in school, I'm in college, so it's a little harder to read for fun when I'm doing schoolwork all the time. I also, if there's a new book that I want to get this year and I want to read it, I'm not going to stop myself either. I'm not restricting myself to my TBR list, but this is just like, if all else fails, this is what I read. This is the list that I'm going to be working on. First one up, I have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I have had this book. I have both of them. I have the duology. And I think the second one is Vow. Yeah, Vow of Thieves. I've had this book for a really long time, and I don't remember exactly what it's about, but it's basically just outlawing families, like outlaw families, thieves, the whole crime circuit. It's fantasy, obviously, by the very pretty cover. I love this thing. It's also a cat and mouse game, is what it's described as. And there's just secrets and power struggles and all that, and that sounds right up my alley, and assassins and, you know, thieves, like I said. So this just seems like something really up my alley, and I'm trying to read more fantasy this year just because it helps with my writing, and also it's just whimsical. I just love it. I love a good fantasy read. I have always loved fantasy. Harry Potter, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, you know, all that stuff. I grew up watching that kind of stuff, so yeah, I'm trying to get into a little bit more this year. And it has a 4.10 on Goodreads. Next up, I have Foxglove by Adeline Grace. So I actually, fun fact, this is a sequel. I read the first book, Belladonna, a couple of years ago, and it's actually the book that got me into reading in my adult life. So this series has a special place in my heart, even if I haven't read the second. And there's a third one out now, Wisteria, I think. But I tried to read this one when it came out, but I got so used to reading first person POVs that trying to read the third person, it just, like, I don't know. But I am gonna read it this year. The first one it follows Signa Farrow, and she kind of has this special ability where she sees, I don't remember exactly, but she is basically like the next Grim Reaper, and she and Death have a little thing going, and she poisons herself all the time to talk to him. Like, it's a whole thing, but she solves a murder in the first one when she goes to live with her cousins and her uncle, and her cousin is really sick, so she's trying to get to the bottom of what's really going on. So this one, she is back in her home estate. She was orphaned. Her parents were they were aristocratic, they were in high society and all that stuff, so now she is going back to her estate, and now her cousin Blythe, who is cured and doing just fine, is with her. She's a bigger character in this book, and Fate is now involved, and I think Fate and Blythe end up like having a thing. And one thing that I really liked about the first one is it had little to no spice in it. And even when Signa and Death were getting together towards the end, it wasn't explicit. You know, it was implied, and it was written in a way that wasn't vulgar, I guess, is more of what I'm looking for. Which in Quicksilver that I'm currently reading, it kind of is a little more on the vulgar side, but you know, that part doesn't really bother me as much, but like it does, but it doesn't. I don't know, like as long as it's skippable. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very gothic. It's very Victorian. It's just, I really want to read this one this year. Also, I almost forgot, it has a 4.09 on Goodreads, which is still really good. I feel like anything in the 4 point anything range is really good because I could not tell you a single thing on Goodreads that's a 5 stars. Like there's not, it just doesn't exist. So yeah, but I remember when I read the first one and the second one hadn't come out yet, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't handle it. And then it came out and I didn't forget about it, but I had moved on to many other series. I think I had started reading Kingdom of the Wicked immediately after that whole trilogy. So yeah. And the cover's just so pretty. And like the inside, like just look at this. Oh, Adeline Grace, you go girl. I just love it. So next up I have One Dark Window by Rachel Gilling. So it's like almost all of these are going to be fantasy, and you can kind of tell by the cover that it's definitely a fantasy, but it's fantasy romance. I get kind of, I've seen a lot of like comparisons to Beauty and the Beast, but like darker. I haven't seen a whole lot. I've tried not to read too much about any of these books so that I can go into it with my own opinions and stuff, and try not to have any preconceptions about any of these. But there's dark magic. She's trying to find a cure for this, like, I don't remember if it's like a plague or whatever, or just this general like darkness. And it takes place in like the misty kind of woods, so it's that like eerie woodsy kind of fantasy that I also really enjoy. And it has a 4.26 on Goodreads. I am sorry that I can't give a better description for this. But like I said, I'm pretty much going in blind, so that's probably as good as you're gonna get from me. But yeah, I love the cover too. It's just so like, I don't know, it's just so eerie, which it obviously fits the vibe. So next up I have Shadow and Bone. I hate when they put like, you can't take this off on the covers, and it's really annoying. But yes, it is a Netflix show that was unfortunately canceled. Ugh. But I did watch the show because I didn't know they were books. I thought it was just some fantasy show, so I watched it, and when they canceled it I was really upset. So I was actually gifted for Christmas, not this past year but the year before, I was gifted the trilogy. But I also have Six of Crows, which is in the same universe, but it follows Kaz Brekker and his band of thieves, who also make an appearance in the show because I think they are also involved in this series somehow. But yeah, it's the Grisha verse, because that's what these magical people are called. They're called Grishas. And the main character, Alina, she is a sun summoner, which is totally rare, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, we need her to close, I think it's called the Fold. It's this like dark, misty like wall almost that splits their land, that splits the continent. So and it's got the guy, I can't ever remember his name. It's Ben something, but the guy that plays Prince Caspian in the Narnia movie and Voyage of the Dawn Treader, is in it, and he is he's like the general or whatever, and he can manipulate like shadows and darkness, so they kind of balance each other out. But I did watch the entire show, so yeah, I know. I know how it goes. But yeah, it's also got romance. They're childhood best friends. They were both orphans in the same orphanage, and he'll follow her to the ends of the earth until he doesn't. So yeah, it's just got all the fantasy elements, the power struggles, just the whole shebang, and it was it's a 3.92 on Goodreads, which is still, I feel, pretty good. So yeah, there's Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. I hope I said that right. Oh, and apparently there's also like many more. So this is the one I have, but there's also other series that still happen in this universe. So that's also really exciting. So coming in at number 5, I have Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I know I'm mispronouncing that, and I am so sorry. Look at the spine. The spine is so pretty. So yeah, and I also think they have a movie coming out next year, so I want to read this before that comes out. I typically like to read the books before I watch any of the adaptations that come from it, just so I can see the comparison, because I feel like if I watch the movie or the show, I'm not going to read the book, and I would much rather read the book because so much gets left out, and it's just more in-depth because you can take your time with it. It's not like you're on a time limit with this. There may be a page limit, but even that's a little loosey-goosey. So, but it is fantasy. There's ruthless kings and magic that disappears, and like the Magi, or the Magi, Magi, however you pronounce. I'm pretty sure it's I say Magi, but I don't know. But they were the magical folk of this land, and they were killed. Oh, apparently the main character's mother was a reaper, so she could summon souls, and there's just like different kinds of elemental magics in this, it seems. So there's burners that manipulate fire, and there's tiders that manipulate waves and water, and then, you know, the reapers that can summon souls and all that. The words at the top actually pretty much sum up the whole thing without even having to read the actual synopsis. It says, "They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, and now we rise." So I am really looking forward to it. It's 4.11 on Goodreads. I don't think there's any romance in it, which honestly is fine. Like, romance is not a requirement for me. It's nice to have. I like being able to be a little delulu about the main characters, but like, I just love a good fantasy read. So like, as long as the world building and all of that is good, then yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it. And I have no doubt, I have heard so many good things about this book, so there might actually be some romance, which is fine. Hey, I'm not averse to a little bit of romance, okay? But yeah, that's number 5. So coming in at number 6, we have For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. So we're kind of steering away from fantasy with this one. It is still historical fiction. And I've not read anything by Hemingway, and I really want to start, and I feel like this is a pretty hefty book. I picked it up at Sundog Books in Seaside. I go there a lot. I try to go there every time I go to Florida, but it's just the cutest little bookshop. But yeah, I honestly really like this cover, and also this is the Hemingway Library Edition. So it's got a personal foreword from Patrick Hemingway and a new introduction by Sean Hemingway. So, but it's basically just about, it takes place in the 40s, and it's in like World War II kind of era with communism and fascism and all the isms. But it takes place in Spain, and there's guerrilla warfare in it, and it follows Robert Jordan, who was an American in the International Brigades attached to an anti-fascist guerrilla unit in the mountains of Spain. In his portrayal of Jordan's love for the beautiful Maria, his superb account of a guerrilla leader's last stand, I am reading it like a robot. It's this guy, Robert Jordan, who is navigating his anti-fascist guerrilla unit in the mountains of Spain, and he falls in love, and the fight against communist ideology and all that. But I also, it's got some writings in the front. But yeah, As someone who is studying to teach history, I also love a good historical fiction, especially in the 20th century, or even the or even the 19th and 20th century. I feel like was very peak for us. Well, I don't want to say peak, but it is the most interesting time to me because so many changes happened throughout that period of time. So, yeah. So, coming in at number 7, we have Normal People. I know that this is popular. I know that everyone and their mother has read this already, or I think it's a show too. I never watched it because I wanted to read the books. Like I said, I like to read the books first. But it's very short. It's like less than 300 pages. But it's about Connell and Marianne, who grow up together in this small town. He's the popular guy, and she's kind of the loner girl, and they realize that they actually like each other, and that they actually get along, and they fall in love. Duh. But basically, they just go through, from what I understand. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Okay. They basically go through their lives and they like try to avoid each other, and they try to separate themselves from each other, and they're just kind of delaying the inevitable. But I've seen people cry reading this, and I am nothing if not an empath, so I know I will cry reading this. I can already feel it. But yeah, I am really excited about this. It has a 3.81 on Goodreads, which is still good. But yeah, and see again with the TV thing, with the TV sticker, I can't stand it. So coming in at number 8, I have Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I actually picked this book up. I've never heard anyone talk about this book, but I also don't scour the internet looking for things like that. I just kind of watch these kinds of videos as they come to me, which I'm sure almost everyone does also. But I haven't seen anything really about this, and I came across it. I was in Target maybe like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and they had their Latin Heritage Month display in the aisle towards the front of the store. And so I was kind of just looking around, and I got like a cup, a cute little like ceramic cup. But I also saw this book. So I was like, me being the bookworm I am, I'm like, I'm intrigued. I also like the cover. I like the colors. I love jewel tones, but it's also just very like, I don't know. I just really enjoy it. But it what is happening to me? But it's a mystery with a tinge of romance, and I think maybe a little bit thriller vibes also. But it's got a tough, intelligent female main character. It's very glamorous. There's debutantes, and she goes and stays in this mansion for her cousin's wedding, or she goes to visit her newlywed cousin. Naomi is the main character, and she goes to Mexico. She's a debutante, and so she goes to all of these parties and stuff like that, but she's a tough cookie. Don't play with her. But there's just a lot of weird stuff going on in this house that she's staying in, so she's trying to get to the bottom of it, because she's like, this is not for me. We have to figure this out so we can get out of here, because what is going on? And I think she has like weird dreams and all this stuff, and it's kind of edgy. Someone said that it's very gothic. Good Lord, I can't speak now. Now that we're getting to the end of all of this, I'm like, but it's gothic like Rebecca and Jane Eyre, which I loved Jane Eyre. I've never read Rebecca, but I've watched the movie, unfortunately, with Armie Hammer. But I digress. But I like more. I also like gothic fiction, just because I like creepy. I don't like creepy stuff, but I like something a little eerie, something a little, a little dark every now and then. So yeah, just a little creepy, a little bit, just a little bit of creepiness. Never hurt anyone in a book. If I'm in a situation where something's a little creepy, yeah, no, I'm getting out of there. But yeah, I am finally gonna give this book a chance. Not that I've been like, oh, I don't want to read that, because I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't want to read it. But now I'm actually gonna, I'm determined to read this book this year. So this next book, I looked up the reviews on Goodreads when I was making my list, and the cover was drastically different. I almost thought it was a different book with the same title, but it's the same book. But I bought this book a long time ago, like at least like 2.5 years ago. No, it had to have been like within the last 2 years, but it's she's a fairly new author, very indie from what I understand. Um, so MK Ahern, it's Broken Flames. And this is the cover that I ordered directly from her, I'm pretty sure. And it came with a little sticker that's on my laptop. And it's just them. It's just this little like image right here. And it's a teeny little sticker. But what intrigued me was, so I loved Avatar The Last Airbender growing up, and I still love it. I still watch it from time to time. But this book, she described it as if Zuko and Katara ended up together. And I knew I had to get this. But there's elemental magic, there's romance, there's an arranged marriage in here. From what I understood, yeah, there's an arranged marriage. So I'm intrigued. I am intrigued by this. There's like rival element kingdoms and all that. It's like very Avatar The Last Airbender vibes. So yeah, and it has a 3.39 on Goodreads, but also like it didn't have that many reviews on it, so at least not that I could remember. But we're gonna see for ourselves. Yes, we are, because look at this. And the art is just so beautiful. I like the, like, it's almost like the like Japanese traditional like dragons are on the edge. But yeah. So coming in at number 10, we have One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. Olivia? Miss Blake. Okay. So I bought this book like 2.5 years ago. I've had this book for a long time. I've had a lot of these books for a long time. That's a common theme. But I tried to read it before. I got maybe a chapter and a half in before I put it down and picked up something else. Not because I wasn't interested in the story, but I have a very hard time getting past third person point of view. But I'm trying to break through that ceiling this year, okay? The ceiling that I built for myself, okay? But I also just love the cover. It's just so pretty. And it's like metallic-y and just like iridescent almost. Love that. But it's basically just two rival witch families. It's a very Romeo and Juliet, forbidden love type story. And it's very mafia vibes. It takes place in New York City, like actual, like listed as New York City, not like a New York City inspired city. This is the world, okay? But the women, so there's a family of women and a family of men. It's a mother and her daughters and a father and his sons. I'm pretty sure. The mother is Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is scary, okay? Which I don't know exactly what folklore Baba Yaga derived from, but she's like the witch, okay? She is she is the HBIC, okay? But yeah, there's just a turf war going on, it seems, while everyone's falling in love. I know there's multiple POVs in this, but I don't know if it's one female and one male POV or multiple of each side, because it talks about the sisters and the brothers and stuff and their feelings. So I hope that I can easily follow along. I'm gonna try. I will try. And like I would hate to like, I don't know, I just feel so bad DNFing books and stuff, but sometimes you got to. But I don't think that's gonna be this. I do think I'm gonna enjoy this because I love mafia vibes. I love fantasy, obviously. So yeah, I'm excited to see what this one holds for us. So coming in at number 11 is Brimstone by Callie Hart. I don't have a copy of this book yet. It is the sequel of a book I am currently reading. Where's the bookmark? So this is how much I have left. I am 410 pages in. I am really enjoying it. I like the world building aspect. The romance is not super heavy. The spice scenes are like vulgar and intense, but it's a dark fantasy romance, so that kind of comes with the territory. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. So I want to see what the sequel is like, just because it carries this same energy. And it has a 4.11 on Goodreads. Not this, but Brimstone. So but yeah, it's just about this girl, this human girl, Sarah Spain, who gets caught stealing metal, which is forbidden in her city. Metal and stealing, obviously. But she's stealing from one of the queen's guards. She gets caught. She is nearly killed, and she opens this gate of quicksilver, hence the title, and finds herself in the Fae world. And she kind of always knew that she could manipulate metal, but she didn't know how far she could take it. She didn't know that she was actually an alchemist, which in the human world, all of the alchemists and anyone that is remotely magical was wiped out, so like over time, under this human queen who has somehow been reigning for at least 1,000 years. So yeah, but I'm excited to finish this one and get to Brimstone, the sequel. And I also just love Kingfisher. He's the love interest, and he's like the dark, misunderstood, like, he's very like terrifying and cocky on the outside, but he's just mushy gushy. Like, I don't want to say he's a soft boy, but like it's a very, I don't want to say it's hate everyone but her, but because everyone but the king loves him. Like, they would follow him to the ends of the earth because his actions align with his words. So, but yeah. So there's that. So coming in at number 12, we have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. It's a little intimidating, the book being this big, but I'm reading Quicksilver, which is 670 pages. So I'm pretty sure they're almost the same size. This one is a little beefy, however, almost 70 pages shorter. So yeah, but it takes place in this criminal underground fantasy world where there's conspiracies and forbidden love. You have this guy who is the body double of the prince, I'm pretty sure, and his title is the Swordcatcher, hence the title of the book. But he has been raised as like the prince's doppelganger, so he trains like him, he lives like him, he is everything but the title with him. And they are like, he is basically brothers with the prince. At least that's how they view each other, because they were raised together, and despite him being an orphan. But now you have Lynn Castor, who is part of a small community that still has magical powers, which is rare from what I understand. But she's a physician that tends to the sick, but she can't heal her best friend without getting some forbidden information. She's got to go to the restricted section and figure this out. But they are kind of thrust together after a failed assassination attempt, and they are kind of dragged into the criminal underworld of this universe. So I eat this stuff up. Like, this sounds completely up my alley, so it makes sense that I bought this. And it has a 3.82 on Goodreads. So it should be pretty good. If not, then oh well, at least I read it. So coming in at number 13, we have 642 Montreal. This book came out towards the end of 2025, I believe, but there's no romance because it's just a plain Jane mystery, which I like kind of every so often reading books that don't really have any romance, just to kind of like cleanse my palate a little bit. But it's by Eva Jerzik. But it's about this woman, Agatha, whose husband pays for a business class ticket on this scenic 6-hour train ride from Toronto to Montreal. And it's just like a writing retreat for her where she can get a bunch of work done for her new book. And everything is going fine. She's in business class. She's living that life. Everything. She's being perfectly productive. And there's only a handful of other people in this car with her. And she's just living, laughing, and loving life. Okay. But then the train breaks down in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the Canadian woods. Scary already. But then one of the passengers dies in their seat, and everyone's freaking out, as you should, because there's a dead body on a train when you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. Suspicious to me. I'm no detective, but yeah, it's basically just like it's a fight for survival, pretty much. But it kind of gives me, I don't know if y'all have seen or read The Girl in Cabin 10. I just watched the movie with Keira Knightley, and it was so good. I really enjoyed the movie. And I don't know if I'll read the book, just because I kind of know the, oh my gosh, of it all, you know? But this is kind of almost the same vibe, but instead of on a yacht, she's on a plane in the middle of the forest. I mean, a plane? Planes, trains, and automobiles. But yeah, the 642 Montreal. And last but not least, coming in at number 14, we finally made it, guys. We have The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. First of all, look at this cover. It's just so good. But this was actually recommended to me at Barnes & Noble. I bought this at the same time as 642 Montreal. I can't remember if I was reading thrillers at the time or if I was just watching thrillers, but I was really into thrillers when I bought this. It's not fantasy at all. It's like a summer camp thriller vibes. Very, I think, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. I want to say Friday the 13th. But it takes place in 1975, which I also love the retro vibes of summer camp, just because, like, summer camps now, they wouldn't know what to do. Like, it wouldn't be just as good. I feel like the vibes would just be less. I don't know. Somebody out there, it's not gonna be me, but somebody out there write a modern day, like a current, present time summer camp thriller. If there is one out there, recommend it to me. Please, I beg. But there's a missing camper, and it's the girl whose family owns this summer camp, and they keep searching for her, and in the process, there's just a lot of really dark stuff that gets uncovered, and it just blows everything sky high. So, I am also really looking forward to this. I really liked reading, which Christine is more of like the paranormal side of things, but by Stephen King. I didn't finish it, but I got about halfway through, and I still liked the like retro, I don't want to say retro because it took place in like the 80s, but just that older style of like teen thriller. Like there's just something about it. I don't know, but yeah, it has a 4.11 on Goodreads. But I have really high hopes for it. So yeah. God of the Woods. Alright, my loves, that is my 2026 TBR. So when I finish Quicksilver, I'm gonna pull a new one out of my jar that I have yet to fill. But I'm about to do that right now, while I have time. But yeah, comment down below what is in your 2026 TBR. or just books that you are looking forward to coming out this year, or just books that you're currently reading, just anything book related, honestly, because I want to know what you guys read. I want to know what you guys are into. I want to get to know some of you. I will fill my jar with these titles, and I will edit this video and post it as soon as I can. I don't know if you saw, I made a post about it, and I put it in the description of my last vlog. I am moving vlog posting days to Tuesdays, just because the way the cookie has been crumbling, the way my schedule has been the last 2 weeks, it's just harder to get vlogs out for Sunday. I don't have a set time for Tuesdays. I'm trying to get them out maybe at noon, schedule them, but I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear. I wish this I originally wanted this channel to have a little more structure, but with my schedule changing so drastically in such a short span of time, it is a little challenging, but we will stick it out, Pookies, I promise you. Okay, but yeah, bye my loves.